So as we move through this wonderful stack of submissions for conversation this week, we're going to apply this method to some of them so that you can get the sense of what we are talking about. So here we go. This is a particularly helpful one that we're going to begin with. Dear Abraham, thank you. Please give me hope. I'm destined to be alone forever because of my beliefs. I'm 34 and I've been studying the law of attraction since my early 20s. I've been able to manifest amazing things in all areas of my life except for one, love. It's hard for me to detach from this desire and be patient. All right, now this is a long submission, and we're going to go through it all because many of you have been writing things like this, so you're going to feel some resonance with it. And because we want to demonstrate something. We want to give you some visuals here today that may make it easier for you to actually accomplish some of this energy shift that you're wanting to accomplish. So imagine that on this table here, there are many, many blocks, like the toy blocks that children play with. And we're going to stack these blocks up to demonstrate trending, to demonstrate whether the trend is about unwanted clutter or whether the trend is about beneficial thought. So just stay with us and play with us for a little bit while we stack these blocks to demonstrate. We don't have any blocks. They're going to be imaginary blocks, but it will be effective for you just the same. So we're going to start at the top. I am destined to be alone forever because of my beliefs. So we're going to pick up a block, an unwanted block, and we're going to put it on the table. There it is. I'm 34 and I've been studying the law of attraction since my early 20s. I've been able to manifest amazing things in all areas of my life. We're going to pick up a block and put that over there in that wonderful trending pile. I'm able to manifest amazing things in all areas of my life, except for one. We're going to pick up another block and put it on top of that other block. The unwanted pile. Trending in the opposite direction of wanted pile. It's hard for me to detach from this desire and be patient. We think that deserves another block of trending in the direction of unwanted. Do you agree? I constantly focus on the lack, no matter how much I try to apply the tools and tips offered. We're going to put another block on this pile. It's getting pretty tall over here in the trending in the direction of unwanted, in the airtime given, in the practiced time given, in the trending time given. I've read tons of psychology books and books on law of attraction to help me learn the behaviors needed to get to my desired destination. I know that by always focusing on what is missing, I'm creating more of the problem for myself. Now, we'd like that you know that. We're still going to put a block on the trending toward unwanted pile. I know it, you say, and I'm still doing it. I'm creating more of the problem for myself. I understand what I need to do on a logical level, but I can't apply it. I've been able to apply the law of attraction principles I know to be true in other parts of my life and manifest great things in my career, finances, relations with family and friends. That deserves some good trending blocks, doesn't it? Let's put some more in that pile. I've experienced the universe engulf me with its harmony, abundance, and peace in surprising ways. Another block on the good feeling pile. But when it comes to romantic love, there's something in my heart of hearts where my child self lives that doesn't believe I deserve the love I so badly crave. That was really loaded. That's worth at least a couple of blocks heart of hearts and badly crave and all of that. This stack, can you see how high this stack is getting in comparison with this stack? I try to love myself now, but it does not penetrate my core because I always return to the same state. There we go. I can hear my ego mocking me for even trying to love myself first. There we go. Another block on the trending toward unwanted, on the practicing of a vibration that isn't serving, on the adding to resistance pile. Even feeling uncomfortable by the idea of a deep romantic love. I know I'm in my own way, but why can't I just get out of the darn way? Dear heart, it's why we're being a little more dramatic and graphic than usual. We know that you wrote these words in order to elicit a response from us. But we want to say to you that every time you think things like this, you're eliciting a response from the universe. The law of attraction is responding to your trending, and you've got a big stack of unwanted things in that pile that you play over and over in your mind. A person doesn't write this kind of clarity, this kind of specifics, and this kind of poetry without practicing it a lot. You are well practiced in this trending of this unwanted negative trending pile. And we get it. When you're standing in a place that you don't want to be, it's hard not to notice it and comment on it and talk to others about it and think about it and even write to us about it. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. We get it, but that's what trending is. That's what creating is. I want it so badly for so many years to meet the one, but I don't know how to get the lack mindset out of the lack mindset anymore. Another block. I've met plenty Mr. Rights, but it never lasts. Another one. I've become open-minded about my standards, and I even try to give people a fair chance and learn who they really are before judging them, but even they don't want me. Another one. We know you're hearing this. We hope you're laughing. We hope you're laughing about how obvious it is, how obvious this trending is. And we are appreciating so much these words that you've written because you're not alone. We get lots of letters like this, not usually a letter this long and not usually a letter this pointed, not usually a letter with such a strong desire. And we know, don't you know, that when you have a strong desire about something, you're thinking about it more. But you're thinking about it more and stacking up the blocks of the trend of unwanted. And that's why you can't get out of your own way. You've got clutter all around you. Clutter, unwanted clutter that is in your way. And you've got to clear that clutter for clarity. You've got to focus upon the other stack, the stack of wanted, the stack of things that are going well. You have to find a way of distracting yourself from this unwanted stack because it's taking over the room. It's taking over the atmosphere. It's taking over your thought process. We're just parroting back some of the words that you've given to us. Even they don't want me. I've worked really hard to change my beliefs and practices. I have literally been to every kind of coach, another block, counselor, therapist, hypnosis, you name it. I've tried it. There's a block I cannot overcome. It isn't that you can't overcome it. It's that you're trending with such strong direction in opposition to what you want. And you think you're doing it with good reason. There is a good reason. It's hard not to notice what is. But it isn't a good reason because in so many of the wonderful words that you wrote to us, you know that it's getting you nowhere. So we like this stacking of blocks. Maybe sometime we'll demonstrate that on a video and we'll actually get some blocks. But we think you could see in your mind's eye what we're getting at. We know for sure that you helped us make a very strong point. You just can't get there from there. Your negative trending is far outweighing your positive trending on this subject. It's like humans believe that if they can just rail against the discomfort or rail against the pain or rail against the injustice or rail against the unfairness, rail against it by pointing it out, that they'll get to where they want to be, but it doesn't work that way. It works in opposition to that. You get what you think about, whether you want it or not. The law of attraction is a wonderful, consistent, cooperative component to your life experience. So now let's go back to the clearing clutter for clarity game. And let's say that you've decided to play the game with us. And so you say, I'm destined to be alone forever. Now, this is something that's active in your experience. It's cluttering your room, so to speak. But when you ask the question, do I want this to be active in my experience? Do I want this particular subject, and in this case, this little block of thought? Do I want it to clutter up my experience? Do I want to keep it in the room with me, active? We're pretty sure you'd say, no, that's an unnecessary thing, and you might toss it in box number 1. Hard for me to detach. Toss it in the box. You don't need that in the room with you. Toss it in there. I've read tons of psychology books and books on law of attraction. Toss them in there. Toss the idea of them in there. Toss the thought of them in there. In other words, let's clear for clarity. So what is it that you want to understand in order to actually be able to clear this thought process for clarity? My criteria is simple. If it doesn't feel good, and this stack does not feel good, if it doesn't feel good, then I would like it, as best I can, to be out of sight, out of mind. It might be that you will benefit most, all of you who are listening in, if you actually clear your rooms in your house for clarity. If you actually go through this process of getting unnecessary stuff, and this stack of things that you just said to us about not being able to find a husband, that's unnecessary stuff. Toss it in that box where if you need to get it out, you can. If someday you want to have a really good conversation about it, you can look at your index file and you can say, oh yeah, I put that in box number 1. And then you can get it out and think about it again if you want to, if there's benefit in it. We're not asking you to give up your beliefs. We're just asking you to set the ones aside for a while that don't feel good when you think them, that hit that nerve when you think them, that give you that negative emotion when you think them. Please help me. Is there any hope for me? Will I ever find my husband? Or is it my destiny to struggle with this belief for the rest of my life? Well, it's up to you. Depends upon which stack you're building on, where you're trending, what you're practicing. Really, it gets easier and easier to trend in the direction of your desire once you get hold of this. Hi, Abraham. My fiancé and I have been going through some really rough contrasts like we've ever experienced before. He got a new boss at his church several years ago, and the new boss really hates my fiancé and has been trying to get him fired for years now. They went to mediation a few years back and have been mostly able to coexist. But now this boss is again trying to either get him fired or at least make my fiancé so miserable and terrified that he quits. Now, in fairness to our first author, we should be stacking up some blocks here, shouldn't we? Lots of attention to unwanted things. True things, you're not making it up, but just because it's true doesn't mean that attention to it is beneficial to you. There are a lot of true things that you don't want to add to in your experience. It's been awful for us. Another block. We're both having panic attacks. Another block. And our hearts just about jump out of our chest anytime his phone dings out of fear that his boss is texting him. Pretty high stack over here. My fiance is really excellent. Really, really, really excellent at what he does. We'll put a block over here in the good feeling pile. And it's been terrifying to see him bullied by his boss to the point of not feeling safe being in the same room with the guy. Boom, 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 boom. Stack, 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 stack. I've heard Abraham say that if you feel like you've fallen out of an airplane, to hang on, it'll be over soon. But ugh, this has been going on for years that we've been hanging on. We love where we live, good feeling block. We're renovating our home, good feeling block. We want to continue the work we're both do here, good feeling block. I'm not sure there's a question in here, you say. But can you help me soothe this a bit or a lot? Remind me that things are always working out for us. Things are working out for you because every time you stack a block of unwanted, something wanted goes into your vortex. When you know what you don't want, what you do want goes into your vortex. Do you know that every time you stack one of these blocks, that in your vortex goes a request for something that you desire, and that your inner being focuses upon it, and the law of attraction responds to that? And so in terms of the vibrational escrow that's being built in your vortex, that things are working out, that all the bugs are being worked out of it. But as long as you're stacking up these blocks and cluttering up your human, where you manifest environment, none of that can come out of the vortex and into your environment because there's too much clutter in your environment that will not allow wanted in. What's dominant in your vibration will not allow the wanted in. What a good question. So yes, we want to soothe you by reminding you that your vortex exists and that things are working out for you. But things cannot penetrate your cluttered pile of consistent thoughts that oppose what you want. That's not the art of allowing. That's not the art of letting it in. That's the art of stacking up a wall of resistance that will not let in what you want. All these hours that so many of you listen to us, Esther laughs at herself at times too. Hard to believe that I know this. Our first person talked about how understanding it in one way, but not understanding, not able to actually do it. You can do it. You just have to find some way that works for you. Some vivid understanding of how this universe works, and a vivid understanding of what you're doing in your physical, action-oriented, manifested, see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it world. Every time you speak of unwanted, you put a block in your way.